точно она смотрит по очень много параметров, в том числе падение светотеней и так далее.
I'm heading out. I appreciate it. And get the hell out of my house.
You'll get a gun and shoot them at them before they get out of the office?
We have a video camera running if you want to do it.
Right.
That would be great footage for us. See you later. In court, I hope.
Want to call the CIA? Have them whacked?
Where you put a transparency over the window and move the camera of the earth. I moved the camera back away from the window, turned off the lights in the spacecraft, and appeared to be halfway to the moon when in fact they were in Earth orbit.
Huh, really?
Yeah, and they said it was the same way that you did it on Apollo 10. So we wanted to give you the opportunity to put your left hand on the Bible, to raise your right hand, to swear to God.
Stick it in your ear.
If you walked on the moon, we're giving the opportunity to swear to God that you walked on the moon.
I'm going to give you the opportunity to get the hell knocked out of you if you don't leave me alone.
We found a very unique reel of footage that we have queued up to show you.
Yeah.
And it's from the mission. And to our knowledge, no one has ever seen it before. And it's 30 years old.
And you want me to see this while you have me on camera?
Well, and to tell us what it is. That's correct. And you'll see this tape proves that.
Okay, well, I'm not interested in satisfying your suppositions when there's all this evidence that we did.
This proves, as you see, that you were using the window to demonstrate that you were halfway to the moon when you were
Turn the camera off, please. Turn the camera off. Well, you're talking to the wrong guy. Why don't you talk to the administrator at NASA? We're passengers. We're guys going on a flight.
You're a coward and a liar and a thief.
And grabs a harness that's right on his hip.
I gotta pause it real quick. I'm gonna pause it because
Yeah.
the funniest part to me, well, there's several funny parts, by the way, but the lady in the background with the hair,
Yeah.
it's like, did someone not think that like we've got to make her hair look like that, right?
Right.
It's got to be standing up.
Yeah.
Dude, it is hard as a rock. It's
Oh,
not moving.
yeah.
You know, it's like this is we must be in space. Look at her hair. Like obviously, there's this thing called hairspray.
Yeah.
So here goes this guy doing a backflip, and he
And then gravity just like gravity goes away. They must have found a pocket.
gravity goes away and he fell,
Yeah.
or he got caught up in that harness he's wearing. Here comes the one with Senior
Yeah.
in the background.
Yeah.
Holy hell!
And it's obviously
Here's an arrow.
a guy filming with a green tennis ball in front of a blue screen.
Right. Clearly, I mean, it's not even.
And then here's a clip of what they turned it
Here's
into.
his water particle. Yep. Wow.
This guy just disappears like, oh, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I'm good to go. Hey, I gotta go. Yeah, what we got back there? Another green screen.
And this guy,
The ones where they're doing the yeah, he's hanging his shirt like you can see
it's not even
you
good.
can clearly see the artist. It's like if you take your hands right now and you grab your shirt and you just pull out.
Yeah.
Like it's.
Yeah.
This one's my favorite right
And the
here.
green
The guy
shirt?
goes to reach for.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a doofus.
But watch their thing at the end. I think this guy's always in it, man. He's the biggest
always
clown.
there.
Yeah.
He's the worst. Like they got to be like, hey Bob, we got to get you out of here, bro. Like you're blowing our.
Look at this.
Let me reach up there.
Yeah.
Oh wait. Oh, kung fu.
Here, I'm gonna pause it real quick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pause it real quick. So
We have to. Then we got to expand.
So
upon
I
this.
imagine this guy in the green that's doing this flip, like when they're practicing, like, oh, this guy's got shit, man. He nails every flip and you can never tell, right? So he's like the practice king of flips. But then whenever they go to film it, he gets nervous and he spoofs it up and grabs his harness. Because he is the most...
He's Ray Finkel.
Yeah. Terrible, man.
If you're an American gun owner, you should be pissed. If you're a resident of Los Angeles, you should be in revolution mode. Why? Well, the LAPD has just announced that they're graduating their very first class of DACA cops. What are DACA cops? DACA cops are illegal aliens they've made into cops. The problem they have is that they can't allow these DACA cops to take their firearms home at night. Why? Well, because it's illegal for them to own firearms because they're not American citizens. So here's where we are, folks. People without papers, drawing a gun on you and telling you by force to show them yours as an American citizen.
That Americans admit this impeachment inquiry, why you interacted with so many of your son and brother's foreign business associates.
I'm not going to comment on that. I did not, and it's just a bunch of lies.
You didn't interact with many of their business associates?
I did not. There's lies.
Breaking news. The Colorado Supreme Court has just removed former President Donald Trump from the 2024 ballot. In a 4-3 ruling, the state Supreme Court has found Trump ineligible as a presidential candidate under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. Breathtaking. This amendment disqualifies sworn officials who allegedly, quote, engaged in insurrection. In other words, 4 unelected judges are trying to preempt the will of voters, the will of the people of Colorado. And it's all in the name of democracy that they are undermining democracy. Incredible. And they're using a so-called insurrection as an excuse. The case will almost certainly be appealed to the United States Supreme Court, setting up a high-stakes legal battle that could very well define the course of the 2024 presidential election. Now, let me be exceedingly clear. This is the latest attempt by the far left to stop Trump at any cost. We know this playbook, even if it means destroying the Constitution and the rule of law. The 14th Amendment was ratified in 1868 after the Civil War. It's only been used a handful of times, and it was used, get this, to disqualify Confederates. But here we have a court of the United States resurrecting an obscure and tailored legal theory of constitutional law to disqualify President Donald Trump. But there are serious legal problems with the Colorado court's ruling. First and foremost, Special Counsel Jack Smith, he looked over all of the facts and he did not even charge Trump with insurrection or rebellion. That was not listed. Why? Because the facts don't match the law. And in courts of law, you've got to do that. Take a basic law school course and you'll find that out. But that's the strategy of the left. First, it was Russian collusion. Then it was impeachment, not once, but twice. Then it was indictments. There were 4 of those. And now, disqualification, wiping Trump off the ballot. And if you had any doubt that this is the goal, just look at this. Take a look at this map. This is happening across the country. There have been 31 cases seeking Trump's removal from the ballot. More than a dozen remain pending. And look at these states. Look at where the cases are ongoing. Texas, South Carolina. These are red states. Trump will most likely win those, unless, of course, he's wiped off the ballot. The old adage is, if you can't beat them, join them. But the left has inverted that. The way of the left is if you can't beat them, disqualify them.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Democratic Party just stole the 2024 election long before the polls opened.
We turn now to the breaking news involving former President Donald Trump.
The state Supreme Court has just disqualified former President Donald Trump.
Donald Trump is ineligible, saying he should not be allowed on the state's primary ballot.
Well, Wolf, the law and the politics have collided, and in this instance, law has won.
It's no wonder crooked Joe Biden and the far-left lunatics are desperate to stop us by any means necessary. They are willing to violate the U.S. Constitutions at levels never seen before in order to win this election. Joe Biden is a threat to democracy. It's a threat. They're weaponizing law enforcement for high-level election interference because we're beating them so badly in the
board now. But has it ever occurred to you, Wally, that the process that creates this boredom that we see in the world now may very well be a self-perpetuating, unconscious form of brainwashing created by a world totalitarian government based on money, and that all of this is much more dangerous than one thinks, and it's not just a question of individual survival, Wally, but that somebody who's bored is asleep, and somebody who's asleep will not say no? See, I keep meeting these people. I mean, just a few days ago, I met this man whom I greatly admire. He's a Swedish physicist, Gustav Bjornstrand, and he told me that he no longer watches television, he doesn't read newspapers, and he doesn't read magazines. He's completely cut them out of his life because he really does feel that we're living in some kind of Orwellian nightmare now, and that everything that you hear now contributes to turning you into a robot. And when I was at Findhorn, I met this extraordinary English tree expert who had devoted his life to saving trees. He just got back from Washington, lobbying to save the redwoods. He's 84 years old. He always travels with a backpack because he never knows where he's going to be tomorrow. And when I met him at Findhorn, he said to me, "Where are you from?" And I said, "New York." He said, "New York, yes, that's a very interesting place. Do you know a lot of New Yorkers who keep talking about the fact that they want to leave but never do?" And I said, "Oh, yes." And he said, "Why do you think they don't leave?" I gave him different banal theories. He said, "Oh, I don't think it's that way at all." He said, "I think that New York is the new model for the new concentration camp, where the camp has been built by the inmates themselves, and the inmates are the guards, and they have this pride in this thing they've built. They've built their own prison, and so they exist in a state of schizophrenia, where they are both guards and prisoners, and as a result, they no longer have, having been lobotomized, the capacity to leave the prison they've made, or to even see it as a prison." And then he went into his pocket and he took out a seed for a tree and he said, "This is a pine tree." He put it in my hand and he said, "Escape before it's too late." See, actually for 2 or 3 years now, Chiquita and I have had this very unpleasant feeling that we really should get out. And we really should feel like Jews in Germany in the late 30s. Get out of here. Of course, the problem is where to go, because it seems quite obvious that the whole world is going in the same direction. See, I think it's quite possible that the 1960s represented the last burst of the human being before he was extinguished, and that this is the beginning of the rest of the future now, and that from now on there'll simply be all these robots walking around, feeling nothing, thinking nothing, and there'll be nobody left almost to remind them that there once was a species called a human being, with feelings and thoughts, and that history and memory are right now being erased, and soon nobody will really remember that life existed on the planet.